Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cecilia from ISSIP. So we have the ISSIP ambassador, Mohamed Zaki, joining us today. He's a director, deputy director of Cambridge Service Alliance at the University of Cambridge. Thanks for joining us, Mohamed, today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Thanks for the invitations, and looking forward to help the community as much as I can. Thank you.
Amazing. Could you just make a brief introduction of yourself and also about your research lab as well?
So absolutely pleasure. So myself, my name is Mohamed Zaki. As you introduced me, I'm running the research center here in Cambridge. It's unique collaborations between industry and academic, where we can address the future of services with them. Typically, we have partners coming from manufacturing engineering backgrounds where they try to transfer their services from products, right? Kind of centric organizations into service, if you like, centric organization. Now they're starting to think about how we can become digital service organization as well. Just to summarize some of the research we do with them, basically it came with our collaborations that there are some key hot themes that they are looking after and they would like some help and interaction from our side. One, that most of the organizations try to invest heavily in the new emerging technology like AI, virtual reality, and etc., to enable them really to generate new smart services. And this has helped them first to get closer from their customers. And this is where the topic it's like quite close to my heart and my research, which is building a seamless customer experience. And this is in terms of designing it and also as well managing it, because once you're starting to introduce digital channels, basically a lot of information and data, a lot of engagement from your customers, the way you need to manage that experience become different now in the digital era. But typically organization investing heavily, right, when it comes to these new emerging technology skills, hiring people, investing in infrastructures and building an ecosystem around them. But this is for as well to generate some business model and revenue. So this is another theme that we are really focusing here in Cambridge Service Alliance, how from your investments in this new emerging technology, you can come up with a new, if you like, data-driven business models or platform business models, and sometimes. This is typically, lastly, as well, changing the strategy, because basically, if you are moving and transfer and switching or shifting from a product to service to digital, how you formulate that, right? So, because basically that's a big giant organization, established organization in essence, they're not that kind of nimble like startups. So to change that kind of strategy, it takes time as well. So there's another like theme there about how you can formulate that kind of strategy as well for this organization. So this is in sum, that's what we're trying to do.
That is a timely topic, Mohamed, because I've actually read a lot of papers written by you as well as a medical candidate on customer experience measurement and data analytics. Because I'm personally very interested in how I can marry data science and service design to build a holistic understanding of customer needs and desires. And as a practitioner, sometimes I found it not easy to use theoretical, the frameworks came out of academia. Because for example, NPS, the Net Promoter Score, that is widely used in practice, right? But then that was developed by the practitioner, not academics, right? So if you can share some tips on how we can actually better operationalize the frameworks came out of academia in actual, the real life examples, what can we do if you can, help the practitioner like me to use those, frameworks better in work?
So this is something really good that we're trying to do here, because we are working with industry. So we are academic. We love to publish papers, love to come up with theoretical frameworks and new methodologies in general. But also we need to translate this to practice, right? So to enable them really to get it and try to help them in their daily life. So back to your points about Net Promoter Score. So this is our recent work about when we looked at firms typically, traditionally, just use this one metrics to enable them really to listen to their customers. That could be before fine, if you like, but now in the digital era with the new digital platforms that organizations try to introduce to their customers and etc. is not enough anymore. So When we looked as well to some of the practice, we found that a lot of customers in general say, we gonna switch from a brand if we have one bad experience with them. And that shows you how now our new generation of customers is starting to really can switch easily. So that's why, typically I call it, we are living in the experience economy at the moment. And whoever organization want to win, they need really to design the right experience for their customers, but also as well manage it well. And now come back to the measurement part, just given that you asked the question. So traditionally, we are running into this kind of survey metrics that enable us to go after the customers, but ignoring all the type of data that customers comes to us. And I built some taxonomy here. So for example, you have some behavioral data that actually interacting with the customers. You can understand from the sales and from their interaction in your websites, whether this customer is really, interacting and engaging with you or something going wrong. And this could enable you, if things are starting to get down, you're starting to go to other attitudinal and emotional data as well. So in the emotional data here, you can call all the textual data that our customers comes and interact with us in call center, in review, in survey feedbacks, in chatbots and interactions. And here is now to show the promise of the big data and the AI mechanism. If you're following the customers' data across the different channels, and you build the right mechanisms to enable the data to analyze it and predict better which of your customer is loyal or a complainer, and etc., that's give you a better picture than just one metrics, which is tell you whether the customer is really happy or not. But also the study shows a lot that actually some customers give 10 out of 10 in these surveys, and in other channels like qualitative data start to be heavily complainer.
Exactly, yeah.
So, so that shows, the matrix is not working, right? So and that's actually sometimes misleading organization about the actions they should do to recover customers, but also design the future experience for their customers as well. So that's a quick brief about that kind of work.
I have a lot of questions around this, area that I would like to, have a chat with you. Maybe like we should just take it offline, those questions. And I know that you mentioned, let's just cover up your, responses to our survey that ran last in November. So you mentioned about a couple of topics that ISSIP might be, interested in having a look at. So customer experience, and also you touched up on sustainability and climate issues as well. I think like ISSIP is already looking around, looking at the area of sustainability. Jim Spore from ISSIP, and then also Ray Fisk from Serve Collab, I think they discussed about this during the live event last Friday. If you have any new initiatives going around climate issues, climate change issues, would you like to share with us, the ISSIP community?
I don't have direct yet something going to the sustainability and climate change, but my notion comes if you link again to the customer experience part, right? So this is going to be part now of the brand and the experience, and starting increasingly to be heavily. What I mean about that, now when you go now to buy as a consumer a car, for example, you would like now to know whether this is going to affect the climate change or not, right? So this is customer perception now about brand will starting to become very different when it's starting to be their initiatives, whether it is with, for example, supporting the climate and supporting, the sustainability agenda, or we're going to be against, the sustainability agenda. So what I'm coming from here is actually brand has to really assess, how they can benefit their customers and consumers and help them in this sustainability agenda. So imagine now a manufacturing organizations, for example, in asset heavy, so when they are giving, like these kind of big asset heavy kind of vehicles and etc., Does they consider, a lot of things to help their customers to reduce their carbon footprint as well? So again, this is again comes back and linking to the experience, the service innovation part,
Right.
which will be really a big agenda and big, strategy for organization they have to consider. Is not only developing the solutions, is all as well that, care about the customer's problem to reduce that kind of carbon footprint, which is help, in consequence to reduce, any hazards and risk about the climate change and others as well.
Exactly. Like there are a lot of research going on to decarbonize the logistics network as well, especially in shipping industry. And also I'm also looking in the area as my post PhD opportunity. Okay, great. Awesome. If there's any like last, the message that you would like to share with the ISSIP community as well as ISSIP leadership, you're more than welcome to do so now.
Yeah, absolutely. So things that I found that a lot of organizations really struggling with, which is I hope some of the future academics, researchers, current now as well in the community, looking at this kind of integration between what we call it the digital realm and physical realm and social realm, which is enable these innovations to be going to be different in a way. So a lot of what I mean about this is actually a lot of organizations focus now specifically about creating new digital channels, which is obviously give engagement better with customers, reach to bigger list of customers as well, speed, interactions, and etc. But sometimes as well, that not links to the physical, space, which is this organization know how to do it, used to know well. But once what we're saying, integrating digital with physical, complexity will be increasing as well, specifically when it comes to information, right? So imagine again, something like Amazon, for example, grocery stores. So that's has a ton of infrastructures of technology, cameras, sensors, and etc inside the physical store. And that could affect experience if it's not very designed very well. That could be hurting experience because if I'm going there, I'm trying to get into the store and the technology doesn't work, it will be hassle for me. I wouldn't come. I would go there. So imagine again in all other sectors, this is going to be happening more and more times. So the integration between digital and physical become complex over the times by the integration. The last realm here is the social part, which is a lot of these organizations doesn't really focus about. And what we mean about social is the context, is contextual. So that could be human to human interaction. That could be human to the ecosystem, right? Which is the different actors that I'm collaborating with to deliver a service. And increasingly, we'll see as well that human to non-human interactions. We see that now with chatbots. We see that now with robots, right? So what that means, how our consumers and customers deal differently contextually, because it's contextual. I might like it, I might dislike it. So how I can personalize these kind of interactions. By putting this together, there is a lot of challenges the organization will face in the future in terms of maturity of technology, in terms of lot of choices that the customers will have, and ethical privacy. All these kind of consideration opens a lot of discussion, research opportunities, and engagements to enable us to really to address it in the future. So hopefully, in the ISSIP, trying to some of the community and leaders here try to push this boundary and help organization to address some of these questions.
Amazing. Thank you. Thanks so much for joining us today, Mohamed. And if you haven't done so, you can subscribe to ISSIP YouTube channel to check out other interviews with thought leaders in service innovation. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and see you next time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.